Welcome back. Well, our next guest launched her own publishing company earlier this year and is now ready to release her second fiction novel called Not That Girl. Please welcome back to our show our good friend Alisha Perkins, sporting a beautiful hat. Hi, Alisha.
Hey.
Look at you, girl, in the hat.
You gotta wear the hat.
Look
what?
at you. Look at you with the hat, looking stylish in a quarantine.
Oh my gosh! You know, it's part quarantine. It's part just, I haven't gotten my hair done for months now. So you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, Alisha, I was thinking about this. You were, I don't know if you remember this, you were one of our final guests on what I call a regular show right before the quarantine started, because we talked about the company, we talked about the book. How have you, so I haven't talked to you since then, how have you been dealing, you and the family, with the quarantine the last few months?
I assume it's the same kind of for everybody, where it seems like, obviously it's really, scary times and, difficult things and life transitions, but it's kind of been a blessing too, to have so much time together that you normally would be pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of been, we've tried to look at it as positively as possible. And we've been up to our cabin a lot and just tried to spend time together, the four of us, that we might not usually have. So yeah, making the best of a weird situation.
Lemonade out of lemons. Let's talk about the book, Not That Girl. I want to know whether it's a song or a story, where did the inspiration and the idea for this book come from?
It's kind of funny, actually. It's actually the first book I wrote, but I released Martyred before I released this one. It kind of just came out of nowhere. I read On Writing by Stephen King, and he said that he just creates a character and puts him in a situation and goes, that he doesn't ever really give too much thought to the plot or how it's going to work out. And so I thought, oh, what an interesting exercise. And so I just kind of went around. I mean, can't go wrong with following Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
So I gave it a shot, and 80,000 words later, we got a book.
Who's the character that you put into a situation? Tell me about your main character.
So the character's name is Finn, and Finn is heading home because mom has passed away. It's to a small town back in, more small-minded folk. And, the relationship is a strained one, to say the least, very complicated. And as the house gets cleaned out, a lot of secrets are revealed from both sides. So it gets pretty interesting and twisty post-mortem as Finn deals with what mom has left behind.
Do you pull, we had an author on yesterday that talked about the people in her life, like her son, who became a kind of the model or a base for a character. Are there people in your life, like Glenn, the kids, Colleen, are pieces of people in your life in characters in your books?
Usually, however, this one, I really wasn't. With Martyred, I did base a lot of the characters around people. You write what you know, typically. But this one, no, this was just full figment of my imagination and letting it do its own thing, which was kind of a really fun exercise. So,
well, what's it like launching a new company in the middle of the pandemic? We're going to have more with Alisha on the other side of the break. Stay with us, everyone. Back after this. We are back with our guest, author Alisha Perkins, whose new book comes out next month, Not That Girl. Alisha, how long did it take you to write this?
Probably about 4 months. I wrote it quite a few years ago, actually, when Glenn was still playing and we were in spring training down in Florida. So I had a little bit more time on my hands than I might now. But yeah, couple months.
I know this seems like and take your time. I'm curious of the process for you. If someone's watching, and when you were here last time, we were speaking directly to potential authors. When you're writing a book, if there's someone watching that says, oh, I have a character in mind and I have a narrative in mind, where do they begin? I mean, is it as simple, Alisha, as sitting down at a computer and just starting to type? Where do you begin to even write a book?
Yeah, I think that's the thing you'll hear over and over again, is to just, even if it's 10 minutes a day, just to sit down and get it out. One of the most important things to remember, and I've heard this time and again, is that the first draft is usually just crap. Like it's just a matter of getting it out and trying to process it all out of your head. And then, that's the second and third rounds are what, make the book. And that's what editing is for. So I think that, if you have an idea and, you're really passionate about it, sometimes you sit down for 10 minutes and it ends up being 3 hours. And sometimes you sit down for 10 minutes and all that you write is like, I hate writing. I hate writing. I hate writing. But, eventually you do get there if you just keep going at it every day or every couple days and try to keep your mind in the process as you're doing it, just add it over and over.
Yeah, because you hear for songwriters, some songwriters hear the melody first and then they come up with the words. And some hear the words, the lyrics, and then they craft a melody around it. So for you, it starts with the character, and then you just form the story around the character. Am I hearing you right?
Yeah, and like I'm what's called a non-outliner, meaning that I don't outline the book. Like you learned in an English class, right, where you have to have like a beginning, a middle, and an end, and there has to be like a certain flow to it. For me, it's just the way I operate that I'm able to just kind of allow my mind to freely wander and go with it. A lot of other people do outline the whole thing, step by step and how they're going to do it and what's going to happen next. And there's not a right or a wrong way. It's just, how it works best for your brain to operate in that space.
What is the hardest process for you? Is it the discipline to sit down even when you have writer's block? What's the hardest part of the whole thing for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, there's days where, it's a matter for sure. Like I think you said, the discipline, because even just sitting down some days you're like, I don't want to do this. It's like any other job, right? I mean, some days you're just really not into it, but you got to keep doing it in order for you to stay fresh and, to keep it flowing. Because if you take a step back for too long, sometimes it's hard to get back into, and then you can fall victim into not ever finishing it. So it's a matter of discipline for me. That's probably the most difficult.
Our author yesterday, we were talking about how she considers her characters, and you hear like J.K. Rowling talk about this and other authors whose characters really feel like real people to them. Do you feel that way?
I do, actually. So one of the gifts one of my best friends gave me after I wrote this book and I let her read the manuscript was she got me a necklace with the initials FH, because the character's name is Finn Harper. And so I wear it like I wear stuff with my kids' names. So you do kind of fall in love with the people that you get to create.
Like I said earlier, the last time you were here, we were talking about the launch of your publishing business. What is it like, the excitement of launching a new business up against the detour none of us wanted, a global pandemic? What's that been like?
It was interesting. I think at the beginning, everybody kind of, panicked, right? And everybody kind of buckled down and we weren't getting a lot. I mean, we're still getting submissions, but definitely things quieted down in March. But now that, I think people are starting to embrace this new normal, we've started to get a lot more submissions. And I think people have had time to be creative again that they might not have been allowed before. So it's been kind of fun. We actually just got our first submission that was a post-pandemic world that the story was being told in. So we were kind of wondering when those would start coming in. So that was kind of fun to read and see where people think, the world could be in a year or two from now. So it's been interesting and a lot of time for creativity. So it's been fun to see what people have come up with.
It is the positive. If you think about the times of upheaval in our history, a lot of great art comes from those times. You think about the late 60s, all the great music that came from the upheaval in the late. I think we're going to have a creative renaissance. If there's one good thing to come from 2020, I really do. I think it's a kind of a creative look at Taylor Swift, Before, really quick, we have just a few seconds. If someone's watching, Alisha, they have an idea. How can they get a hold of you, or what do they do?
Yep, they can go to hadleyhouse.com. It's HADLEIGH house.com. And our submission information is on there, as well as where you can buy Not That Girl.
That's right.
So
go buy it, everybody. Support local authors. Not That Girl will be available, like Alisha said, next month. Thank you, sweetheart. Give my best to the family.
Thank you. Yeah, you too.
Bye, sweetie.